welcome to the global press conference for Jurassic World Dominion. And we are so lucky to have with us here today none other than Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, who return to these iconic roles in what is, without any doubt, the grand finale. And I would like to start asking about that. How excited were you to come back to these beloved roles for this film?
I'm so excited. It's been a wild ride for sure, an incredible journey. 9 years and 3 great films, and this film is just truly, like you said, a grand finale, the magnificent ending to really 2 trilogies, both Jurassic Park and with the legacy cast returning, and then Jurassic World. So it was very exciting. Anytime you have a script that is that good, with Colin back to direct it, we knew we were in safe hands, and we were going to get to share the screen with some legends and icons from in the legacy cast. It really doesn't get better than that. It's hard for me to imagine a scenario I'd be more excited to do for work.
And how about for you, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, I feel exactly the same. And I think that because we started the movie in February and got shut down in March, really quite early into our production, there was sort of this moment where we didn't know whether or not we were going to be able to make the movie. We were everyone, all over the world was dealing with some form of that question. And so when we finally did come back, and we were one of the earliest movies to come back in the pandemic, there was a lot of concern around it, but what eclipsed that was the excitement and the gratitude that we actually all had a job and that we could all go back to work. And the movie originally was supposed to come out last year, but while we were shooting, it was decided to actually push it to this year. And I'm so glad for that, because it really feels like by the time this comes out in June, it'll be summer, movies will be open. We're all triple, sometimes some people are quadruple jabbed, and it's time to go back to the movies. And so it's something that we would have been looking forward to no matter what, but because of the circumstances of the last couple of years, we take none of that for granted. And so to release this movie is absolutely an amazing feeling.
Couldn't agree with you more. David Caspi from Israel says, Owen and Claire are now raising Maisie, just like Blue has Beta. So how was it to portray these characters now as parents?
I think it was a great natural next step in the evolution of these characters. One thing that's been very important to the both of us is that if we're going to keep reprising the roles of Owen and Claire, that we not just repeat the same beat. So, it never becomes hackneyed, this sort of will they, won't they chemistry of the first film rolled into something entirely different in the second film, and then now has rolled into something entirely different for our third film. And, that will they, won't they chemistry, that sexual chemistry is left to Sam Neill and Laura Dern, who light this screen up with red-hot chemistry, which is so wonderful and so just elegantly sentimental and beautiful. And our characters are parents, and we have, a reason beyond just our passion for one another, our love for one another, to be devoted to the union of our partnership is for the betterment of a young child, and so we carry that with us, the stakes of that with us through the story.
How do you see, Bryce, that arc and in your character and in that relationship?
Yeah, no, it's what Chris is saying, where we didn't want to repeat those beats of will they or won't they. And I mean, something that's kind of a fun thing for me is that Chris and I have talked many times. I mean, we talk about our kids all the time. And in the past, we would talk about how, we would be, really good parents together. Parenting is something that we're both really passionate about.
That's true.
And that the teamwork that is required to parent is something that has naturally and organically evolved between Owen and Claire, but also me and Chris over the course of these 3 films. So I think the fact that they're parents now, I absolutely love that. I love as well that you met these characters both when they were more I mean, much more so for my character, where she was more selfish. But kind of, you know, they were the centers of their own worlds, and now they're parents, which is one of the most selfless things that you can do as a human being or experience. So, you know, it's definitely been a really satisfying, enriching, layered arc for both of us. And in a way, it's I think mirrored our relationship. You know, we're very much so on the same page, and it's wonderful that Claire and Owen have gotten to that place as well.
Aditi from Times of India says, Chris and Bryce, imagine this doesn't end, so this is not the finale. How would you imagine, or you would hope, that would carry on?
Well, I mean, I what I'll say for Claire is that something that was fascinating to me when I was kind of looking at the script and trying to kind of analyze what the beats were for her. At the beginning of the movie, she has everything that she wants. She has her partner and she has her daughter. But the world is upside down, and she feels responsible for that. And even though it's so much bigger than her now, she can't just kind of check out and just be in the woods. And I think that's the conflict for her. Will that go away in her life? I don't think so necessarily. I think she's going to always grapple with that. But the fact that her family is safe is what is most important to her. And so I think you know, hopefully we're seeing a family grow up together. You know, that's what their future is. What do you think?
Well, I mean, God, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to speculate. You know, it's really complicated to just kind of spitball what it could be without just making a bit out of it or being funny about it. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard people say that they wanted to see Jurassic World crossed over with the Fast and the Furious, and I'm like, maybe we, you know, isn't that what's that Universal property where they're like they're the singing contests, like the
yeah, that Elizabeth Banks directed it.
Yeah, what's that Elizabeth Banks a singing show that she does?
Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, I'd probably rather see a Jurassic World Pitch Perfect crossover. That'd be pretty great, just to see like these Glee kids just get like gobbled up. That'd be pretty funny. That'd be good. I don't know. I don't know. I leave that to the people who are better at that. You know, once they have a great script, I'd be willing to read it, but I don't imagine it would. I don't know. I don't think that Owen would be. I don't think Owen will be in any more of these movies, but. Because
he's happy and in love and complete.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There we go.
Yeah. Because he's happy and in love and complete.
Like you said, we are much like a married couple, and my wife is right. Happy wife, happy life. You get it.
So, following up.
Always right.
Following up on what we were talking about, the dynamic between your characters, Joni Wickman from Episodi Finland says, how did you work on this one to convey to the audience the 4 years that have gone between the last two films?
Well, you know, when someone sees the film, they'll know that going into it, we're sort of given this update in the first 10 minutes of the film that really sets the stage for the audience of everything that's happened in the past 4 years. As we've seen over the past 4 years in our life, 4 years is a very long time, and a lot can change over the course of 4 years. And in our world, Jurassic World, that has been the case. We're not saying that dinosaurs are everywhere, but, you know, not like every corner you turn around there's a dinosaur, but the dinosaurs have proliferated to a degree that they aren't just relegated to an island. They are in various parts of the world, and we get to follow those storylines around the whole world. So this film feels different. It feels more epic, more global. And what's been going on is really just like, there's been entirely new and original ways that corporations would try to manipulate or, you know, take advantage or exploit the reality of genetic power to, you know, fill their bank accounts and you know, to affect their bottom line. And it's sort of, I guess, it remains a cautionary tale that's, you know, parallels some of the things we're seeing in the world today. It's a different world, which makes for a more colorful, vibrant movie with landscapes that aren't just jungle. We have, you know, high mountain desert and amazing chases through cities, and, you know, grand aerial fights between airplanes and dinosaurs. It just makes for a different kind of movie.
That's true. From Bhavna, India Today, the nostalgia around Jurassic Park is real. He would like to know your childhood memory of watching that first film, and how do you feel now about being a part of the last one?
When I watched Jurassic Park, I was 12 years old, and it was in the theaters opening weekend. Chris was 13 years old in the theaters opening weekend. So we were very much so at similar stages of our development as people. And I remember when I watched it, I originally wasn't allowed to watch it. My parents weren't going to let me. But they went opening night, and then they came back, and I remember my dad saying, he was like, this movie has changed cinema forever. You have to see this film in the theater. And so on that Saturday, I went and I saw the movie, and I actually got emotional because at that point, I had been on a lot of my dad's movie sets and had just naturally kind of gravitated toward the various innovations that were possible. Like I remember when I was 5 years old and my dad was doing Willow, and they used morphing for the first time, the morphing technology. And I remember being kind of like blown away by that as a kid. And so when I saw Jurassic, I got really quite emotional because I knew that what my dad said was real, and that movies had changed forever, and now what was possible was just, you know, it had opened up all these new possibilities. And so I think that experience always stayed with me, and I yearn for that experience when I go to the theaters. And that's an incredibly high bar that Jurassic Park set. But, you know, we all reach for it.
Chris, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, what can I add to that? That's such a perfect answer. You know, I stand by everything Bryce said there. I'm not sure that I can top that.
Well, Peter Gray from the AU Review in Australia says, with these films and other films that you do, has working with effects become easier?
Well, I mean, I once heard that every time an actor refers to his job as a craft, an angel gets kicked in the nuts. So forgive me, angels, by saying that what we do truly is a craft. It's a trade. And so, yes, experience makes it a bit easier. You develop tools that on one job with effects that you may rely on the next job. You know, I mean, ultimately, we're just piecing together a motion picture. And working with effects, it requires various techniques, all of which are unique to the creation, but don't necessarily have a profound impact on the end result. Usually, the end result all looks really great, but to try to an example would be. If you're working opposite a CGI animal and you want to, or a creature, and you want to have an actual physical interaction where you touch the thing, then it's far superior to the end result to have an actual animatronic puppet, because touching something that's CGI is cost prohibitive.
$60,000 per touch.
But also, you know, creating an organic interaction between yourself and something else. When you have a performance that's driven by puppeteers, it will actually affect what you've come prepared to do. It'll change who you are. So that's just one example. You learn that through a little bit of experience. Learning how eye lines work and how keeping certain focus works. How to elicit a response from an actor when they're working opposite a quote unquote a tennis ball or a mark. You know, from the directorial standpoint, yes, doing this over and over again probably definitely makes it easier, because it is a craft. Oh no.
Poor angel.
Well said. This movie, of course, brings back the original trio: Jeff, Laura, Sam. I mean, it's so exciting to have them back. How was it for you to be with them and to share the screen with them?
Absolutely amazing on so many levels.
Yeah.
I mean, before we shot Jurassic World Dominion, Laura had just won an Oscar.
Right.
These are actors who, like, let's set Jurassic Park to the side. And let's say for a second they weren't in Jurassic Park. In their own right, they have all done so many projects that have had such a huge impact on culture. And they themselves are so wildly talented. Plus, they're incredibly warm, sweet, sincere, beautiful human beings.
Yeah.
It was incredible getting to work with them. And then on top of that, we got to work with the characters that we love so much. I'm like, oh my God, it's Dr. Ian Malcolm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just absolutely such...
I was like, Sam Neill's not American?
I know, right?
What? It's Alan Grant, man. He's not from New Zealand. What is this? This is crazy.
Yeah, getting a behind the scenes look as fans was really, really, really fun.
Yeah.
But Wrong Song Pelix asked, okay, fun question for both of you. Imagine you actually really did encounter a dinosaur. Who do you want next to you?
Me?
Yeah, yes. This guy is like, I always say, if the apocalypse happens, I'm making my way to the Pratt household. I'm like, sorry, honey. I'd be like, come on, we're going to the Pratt household.
Wait, you're leaving, Bryce? You're leaving Seth behind? I love it. Okay. That's a good, wow. Well, I'm flattered. That's great. That's nice.
He's like a survivalist. And so it's been really great to do these movies with you because you understand what it takes to survive in the wild.
Well, it doesn't hurt to actually truly suspend disbelief and take these types of stories, which are so,
fantastical,
and actually apply logic to what you might really need to do in case you ever come across a dinosaur or find yourself in one of these situations. So, yeah, great.
Shomini sent from Wayon, India says, among the films that you've been part of the franchise, which has been your favorite and why?
Among the films that my two favorites of every movie so far is the original Jurassic Park and the original Jurassic World. I feel those two films are both really, really incredible. There was a lot of space in between the two of them. They both tell totally different but equally compelling stories. And I think my third will be this film because it really beautifully wraps both of those films up. The characters, the icons you meet in the original film, the legacy cast, we get to see where they are now, 30 years later. I mean, that's a really beautiful thing, to take a fictional character from 30 years ago and then bring them back into the world in an organic and meaningful way and watch them wrap up their story. That's really special, and it's really hard to think of. I mean, I guess Star Wars has done it, and the Avengers did it, and I think, and now we're doing it. You're seeing these characters that have aged like fine wine come back and really do an extraordinary job of telling a very thick story. It's not just like a glorified cameo here. Like, these guys really have a incredible work that they're doing, and so it's gonna Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and then Dominion.
Bryce?
Yes. I mean, I think I like what Chris said is true. And I think that what is so remarkable about this film is it is the culmination of 30 years of storytelling. Yep. And two connected franchises, but franchises that are, independent of one another, took place over 2 decades apart from one another. So it's been, I think Dominion in particular has been the most meaningful for me to film because it was during a pandemic. We were all living together. Yeah. We were so badly wanting for it to be able to happen. It was kind of the perfect end to what felt like a perfect experience. So, it's been absolutely amazing, and I'm just so excited for people to see it because I am proud of Colin. I'm proud of what Colin did. I'm amazed by the legacy cast. That there are new cast members and new characters that I cannot wait for people to fall in love with them. So, you know, it's awesome.
And I think they're going to fall in love with the whole package. It's truly extraordinary. Congratulations for being a part of it and for being with us here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.